Look at my decorations, y'all. I got candles with metal leaves, designs. Look at all my candles, y'all. By far, the coolest decorations I've ever had in any place that I've ever owned. Ooh, and a homemade protein pancake. It's not just any pancake, it's a protein pancake with scrambled eggs and some cheese in there, so it's like an omelet-ish kind of a thing. Tastes amazing, that's all I know. Made by the beautiful Ariana Reardon.
Oh my god.
Had no idea she was even doing this. Just woke up, she made all this for me. Look at that. Head chef. Made with RTN's Bionic Edge Mass Builder. The best protein pancake you'll ever have. It's just a couple of scoops of that with some eggs. Fry it up. That's amazing.
So good.
Needless to say, I'm marrying her. It's beginning to feel a lot like Christmas. Which is not good, because it's mid-February. We should be getting towards spring now. And because it's snowy out right now, my gym was closed by noon. And the roads were horrible. And then my friend Nicholas, my roommate, took my Anytime Fitness key, which is like my backup gym, and he took it with him to work, so I had no key. So what I did is I visited the parents' house, and I brought all my equipment, including my squat shoes, because it's lower control day of week number 2 of Johnny Candido's powerlifting program. And guys, a couple of the questions I got about these squat shoes really quick, the Nike Romaleos 2. Do the straps touch the ground? And because apparently it's a common problem, but not for me, they do not. At all. That's as low as they go, and that's pretty tight too. So, not an issue. Check it out. We are squatting at home today, and I have no squat rack, so I had to home make a squat rack. You want to talk about a ghetto workout? I mean, it's partly ghetto because I'm using half of a shoulder rack and half of a dip station. But at the same time, it's incredibly ballin' because I actually have a shoulder pressing rack and a dip station to set it up with. So, I don't know. You can take that cup half full, half empty. But either way, we are doing squats today, and it is a lower control day, meaning we're using 70% of our max, 275. And we are doing 6 sets, 4 reps, pause at the bottom to really work on that control and that strength at the bottom of the squat. Now, I have an issue. A lot of you guys notice my knees buckling inward in some of my other squat videos. And that was because I had a super wide stance with my feet planted outward like this. Here's the text message I sent Johnny Candido, my unofficial powerlifting mentor, if you will. His program that I'm using, along with his channel, are in the info box below. Check out this video. I texted him personally. Alright, sorry about the text video. I figured this was the easiest way to get your quick opinion on something, and the only way I could figure out how to do it was to show you instead of like trying to type it out and explain it. But simply put, I have pretty much a duck foot stance, right? This right here is my neutral, completely natural, 100% comfortable, just let your feet land where they are stance. As you can see, my feet go way out. Most people, their feet are like that when they're just chilling. So squatting, right? The typical way to squat, you have your feet pretty much straight forward, slightly out, right? To me, right there, that feels probably, in this area, right where these tendons and these tie-ins are, that feels probably like most people would feel if they try going like this. Like, just if you keep your legs straight and you bend your toes in, that stretch you get right here, that's what I feel from even having it like that. Like, I feel like I'm really forcing them to be in right now, having it like that. This is my natural comfort and where everything just feels nice and loose and I can, like, move freely. This right here feels like something tight, constricting here, and basically like I'm trying to tug myself inward. I do see the difference in when I squat like this, it's much more easy for my knees to buckle in. However, the motion feels clean around my knees. This right here, I noticed the difference. My knees didn't buckle. It was easy to kind of screwdriver my legs out, the external rotation, drive up. But obviously, like I said, it feels like I'm forcing it inward. And I'm just checking with you to make sure that's okay. Like I'm not going to damage anything that way because I'm not that familiar with the heavy powerlifting version of squats. And then secondly, asking you what you recommend. Like if you think I should continue forcing it inward like so, or if you think I should just adapt to having outward and just focus on building that strength of not bringing them inward, even though that is, they do want to naturally go inward to that. Anyway, that's my question. So if you can give me the coach's eye on that, I'd appreciate it. Gracias. So here's what Johnny texted me back verbatim. Johnny says, "That's a good question. Here's what I believe. If you feel comfortable with your feet out, then that isn't something I believe is a problem, even if your knees aren't 100% aligned properly, because everyone is built differently, even though certain lifters refuse to accept that. But what is the real problem is the knees coming in during the movement. That is why pointing your feet forward can help simply due to allowing you to start with your knees closer in since they come in anyways. But if that feeling is awkward on your knees, then definitely don't do it, even for the sake of fluidity in the lift. What I suggest here is to either slightly, and I mean slightly, narrow your stance while keeping your feet out, or simply train your ability to maintain external rotation of the hip when coming out of the hole. So for more definitive advice, involve wide stance squats as an optional accessory. Do this with each lower workout." So that's pretty self-explanatory, cut and dry, but if any of you guys missed that, what he's trying to say, to sum it up for you nice and simplistically, Johnny's basically saying, try to make my stance a little bit more narrow. I can still keep my toes pointed outward. Just try to narrow it together a little bit more to try to stop myself from buckling in, to try to keep everything nice and tight. But then on the side, practice my wide stance squats and focus on not allowing my knees to buckle. Basically keeping my knees wide apart as I come up from out of the hole from the bottom of the squat, just like you do in a sumo deadlift. And do this after every single leg workout with a very light weight. He said no more than 135 on the bar. Do it for my 8 to 12 reps, 3 sets at the very end of each lower body workout. And this, on top of just practicing my stance being a little bit closer and being more conscious of it, should help. This last set here, I show you guys a regular squat stance that you see most people doing with the knees close together and the feet completely forward. Well, that's completely forward for me anyway. And I couldn't do it. About 3 reps in, I had to stop and readjust myself because it was just way too painful for my back, my legs. I couldn't get a good glute drive. It's just not a natural stance for my build. So we're working on the closer stance and add in the accessory exercise to help build up that strength for squats. I'm excited.
Taking a second to just lay down. I'm decompressed my back. That former deadlift injury I had back in the day makes it so my lower back's prone to locking up sometimes randomly. And those freaking squats, man. I feel it right in my lower back as if I'm doing 20 reps of stiff leg deadlifts or something. Makes my lower back on fire. Squats have always been a very awkward movement for me. Not so much a weak movement, but an awkward movement for me. In all years of training, you find a sweet spot for deadlifts. And you find a sweet spot for your bench press. It's the perfect stance, perfect position that makes everything just feel nice and smooth. You can do it in your sleep. 7, 8 years of training, never once felt one comfort zone or sweet spot for squats, ever. It's weird.
So it's time to deadlift. So obviously I got out of the Nike Romaleos and I put on my flat-soled Converse because a flat sole is a happy sole. Some people, I guess, deadlift in squat shoes. According to my last video, some people were telling me that Elliot Holst does. Not sure why he does. He's a very intelligent man. He knows what he's doing, so I'm sure he has a very good reason for it himself. All I'm saying is the biomechanics of a deadlift mixed with the fact that I've never seen one world record deadlifter ever use an elevated shoe makes it so Nick Wright's going to continue using a flat sole for deadlifts. That's just me. No hate on Elliot Holst. Again, he probably has his own reasons. So I actually had to tighten my Inzer belt today, which was pretty cool. I must be getting a little bit leaner. Watch out, Max Tuning, buddy. I'm coming for you. You know I'm getting aesthetic again. Just kidding. I'm staying fluffy. But I apparently am leaning out a tiny little bit, which is cool. Just trying to maintain my weight. I feel badass having a belt that I actually have to use a screwdriver to adjust. I mean, I feel like a real lifter having to use a tool to adjust my belt. Boy, do I feel cool. Check it out. Pause rep deadlifts. You guys saw me go over this on my last video, and I actually dropped the weight down to 315 this time to really focus on activating that core. And 315 felt amazing. That's definitely a good weight for me to use on these. It's really helped me activate my core. The point of this exercise is, just to recap, is to flex your glutes, to activate your glutes, to exhale and contract your diaphragm, to just ignite your total core from the very beginning of the lift. Because again, usually people will use momentum to jerk the weight up, and then after a few inches off the ground, then they flex their glutes and they get everything nice and tight to finish the movement. But that first initial launch off the ground, you're loose, and that could actually add to a loss of strength and serious injury. So this right here, pausing as soon as you come off the ground for a second and then coming back up, strengthens that activation. Again, it may look like my lower back's a little bit rounded. It's not. It's just the shape of my lower back. But I found out breathing is a big part of that pattern. Deep breath at the bottom of the rep. Flex the glutes. Bend over. Grab the bar. Exhale. Hold that exhale. Continue to exhale at the pause. And then fully exhale for the rest of the way up, like a piston. I then did 3 sets of 12 reps on leg extensions to really just kind of help strengthen up my tendons, especially around the knee area. Brendan Lilly said that probably would have helped prevent his injury to an extent. Brendan Lilly recently just had a very bad injury. His entire knee split in half, his kneecap, and his leg just buckled under a squat. And one of the things he was saying can help avoid something like that is to do some accessory movements like the leg extensions to help strengthen up your tendons in that whole area. So that's what I did. And then, as you see here, I'm doing the wide stance squats that Candido recommended I do at the end of every single lower workout. And they felt great. The whole point here is to focus, mentally focus on driving the knees outward. Separate the legs as you drive up. Resist letting your knees buckle inward as you leave the bottom of the rep and you rise back up. And they felt really, really good. 3 sets of them, and they felt amazing. 135 is definitely a good weight to get that mind-muscle connection going and concentrate hard on. And that was the full lower body workout for today.
At the risk of having this video flagged, on that last set of wide set squats, I felt my boxers trying to constrict my legs together because they're not the briefs that I usually wear. And I just said, fuck it, I'll get new boxers later. And went right down with the squat. And this is what happened to them. Oh my gosh. Completely demolished. I'll spare you guys the full rear glute spread, but you get the picture. They're gone. They split right in half. Subscribe now, guys. Please like the video. Please feel free to comment. I love hearing your feedback. And of course, hit up my website, my Facebook, and my Instagram in the info box below. Peace.
Buy a t-shirt, nwblifestyle.com in the info box below. Tank tops, t-shirts, hoodies, dog tags, you name it. Support and represent the lifestyle you live.